Hello and welcome to Brian's Guide Game. I'm Brian, and today I've got a game called Creature Comforts. Creature Comforts is a 1 to 5 player worker placement game by Roberta and will soon be published by Kids Table Board Gaming. In this game, players are woodland creatures making preparations for the winter. On your turn, you allocate dice to your workers to gather resources, build improvements, and craft comforts. These comforts earn you points, and after the 8th round, winter is here and the game ends. So let's check it out, and I'll show you how to craft comforts, how improvements can score points, and how you use dice in a really cool way in Creature Comforts. To set up, place the game board in the center of the table, and then place the next couple pieces on. The first one is going to be this little wheel, and that goes right there. Then place the hilltop piece right here, and then it also comes with this little piece here, so you can raise it up so it's on top of a hill. Then create the valley stacks. So we've got the forest and the meadow, and you want to sort them so you have all of the fall ones on top, then the summer ones, and then the spring ones. And you want to shuffle those individually. And then stack them all up like that, and place the fall, this is the forest, so this goes over in the forest area. You flip it over, so you start with spring. And you do the exact same thing with the meadow. Then create stockpiles for each good. There's a whole bunch of them, but I'm going to keep all of them off screen, except for these couple little stacks, one for each good. Normally you'd divide them all up into either piles or stacks, but to keep this a little cleaner, I'm going to leave them like this. Then do the same thing with the coins and the stories, and then with these lessons learned. And again, I'm keeping the majority of all the tiles off screen. Then shuffle up all of these comfort cards, and then we're going to place them here. Move these up a little bit. Speed through this part. Then show 4 cards and put them in the owl's nest. Then shuffle up all of the improvement tiles and place them in the 6th slot. Then reveal cards for 1 through 5. Then flip over the top one so you have a card for 6. Then place the almanacs and the wheelbarrows nearby. Then shuffle the traveler deck and place it in the inn, and then flip over the top card. Then each player picks a board. We're going to be playing a 4-player game. Next we have some wooden pieces. Place all of the meeple workers on each player's board, and then also take these little cottage pieces and then fill up these little squares on the side. And keep in mind that these pieces are prototype components and may change as the Kickstarter goes. So next we have some dice, which are also prototype components, but may stay the same. We have 4 hilltop community dice, and then each player has 2 of their own personal family dice. Then pick a starting player. They are the early bird, and the early bird gets the worm. They also get these community dice. You are now ready to begin. So to begin a round, every player rolls all of their family dice, then places them on their board. So we're rolling these dice and we're going to be using them, but you only use your dice. Nobody else is going to be using your own personal family dice. So these are individual to you. And these dice let you have an insight into your next turn without knowing the values of all of the dice that you are going to be using. So then everybody at the same time takes all their meeples and places them on the board. Though unlike a normal worker placement, you aren't stealing spaces. Any number of meeples can be at any spot, but only one of your own at each spot. This area is mainly for getting resources, and then you spend them at most of the others. So we'll start putting these out. I'll talk through those in a second. While the players were placing their workers, they forgot to, at the beginning of the game, they didn't grab their comfort cards. So each player gets 3 comfort cards, and they get to pick 2. So a comfort card is what's laid out here, but these are them right here. So on the cards, they have a couple different things. This is the heart, or the point value at the end of the game. You have the name of it, and then this is what it costs to buy it, or to build it, and you need, for this one, you need a wood and a coin, and then there's some bonus points down here. You get plus 2 points if you also have a mandolin. So here we have a candle, it's 5 points, and it requires those resources to build it, but it also is in the fire category, and then those can be affected by some of these cards down here. So they all have different values and different points amounts and different bonuses. So each player gets to pick 2 at the beginning of the game, which can help them decide where they want to go. Okay, we rolled our dice, we placed our workers. Next, the first player will take their turn after they roll these village dice. So they start, they roll all of the village dice, and then place them. Technically they go on the hill, but I'm going to put them over by the personal dice, and then they get to use them. So they look at this and allocate their dice to try to do things. Okay, we'll allocate our dice. Up here is the valley, and this is where you can get resources in large amounts. So green went here, and the requirement to get the resources at the top of this card is total 11 or higher. So we're going to place these 3 dice here, 5, 5, and a 1. That's 11, so we're good. So then we get 2 wood. So then the green player places 2 wood in their reserve, and then they can move on to allocating more dice. We're gonna go here to the owl's nest. We're gonna place a 1 there. This one has no requirement. It's a question mark, and here you get to pick any 1 card from the lineup. So looking at what we have, we are gonna take this, the flute. This card is immediately replaced, and then we can allocate the rest of our dice. We are a little bit short. We don't meet the requirements here. We need a 3 and a 4. We have 2 2s, and we don't have the requirements here. This one has no dice requirement except for what's here, but we don't have any of those, so it won't help us. So we get to not place these 2 dice. And what that does is that means we get 2 lessons learned. You get 1 for each die that you didn't use, and then these can be used in future rounds to add or subtract from a die. So then, after you finish with your turn, you take your dice back, and you take all of the village dice unchanged. You have to keep them exactly how they were and put them back on the hill, and then the next player takes their turn. So yellow wasn't very productive. I was only able to place that die and that die. So we learned a lot of lessons today. We get 4 of these. I'll grab some from my little stockpile over here. 4 of those. And then this is the workshop, and here, depending on what card you used, or what die you used, you get to pick a card, any 1 card from up to the pip number that you put there. So I put a 5, so I can pick any out of these first 5. But you have to be able to pay the cost to take it. So as I don't have any resources, I cannot take any of these. They have 2 rock right there, so I take 2 rocks. Well, you can do this in any order, but as you can do this in any order, I can take my resources first, and then there's also this convenient ability here that is all month long, all improvements, which are these cards, and all comforts, which are these cards, cost 1 less wood than displayed. So this one costs a wood and 2 rocks. It's 1 less wood, it only costs 2 rocks. So I can pay my 2 rocks to the bank, and I take my improvement, and then this one is a field. So I'm going to place it over here with my little piece on it, and you start from the bottom and go up. You take your piece and put it over there. And now any player can put their dice there, their family dice, not the village dice. And they don't put their meeple there, it just takes a die. And whenever they go there, they get 2 wheat, and the owner gets 1 wheat whenever another player collects. And it's worth me 2 points at the end. So these immediately slide down, and that is the end of yellow's turn. Okay, I allocated blue's dice. They didn't use 1, so they get a lesson learned. Here they got 7 or higher, so a coin and a wool. Here they had 1, so you get a coin and a rock. I'll talk about the market in a second. So So we're here at the Owl's Nest, and we went to the second spot here. This one is take one from the lineup. This one depends on what card or die you played there. So if it's a 1 or a 2, you get to draw 2 cards off the top. If it's 3 through 6, then you only draw 1. So they draw 1 card and add it to their hand. And the hand limit is 3, so we meet that limit. So now the market, you can trade a coin for any good, 2 goods, 2 of the same good for a single good, or 3 any goods for a coin. And we're going to trade in a coin for a wood. Okay, and finally, red will take their turn. Okay, red also learned a single lesson. They got 7 or higher, so they get a wool and a coin. And they got here, they get 2 apples. 2 apples. Nothing here, and then they went to the Owl's Nest and they get to pick any one. They're going to take the quilt. It's immediately replaced. Then everybody takes all their dice and meeples back if they haven't already. And then all of the white dice go in the center. So at the end of a player's turn, they have the option, or each player's turn, they have the option to craft a comfort. And in order to do that, you need to have all of the resources depicted on the card. This was the first round, and it was kind of hard to get resources because a lot of people went here and there were no 3s and 4s. But in the future, they will be building a lot more comforts. And at the end of your turn, you pay the resources to the bank, and then you build the comfort. So the last phase of the game is upkeep. So we get new meadow cards, or valley cards. We turn this wheel 1 space. We get a new traveler. There we go. And then we discard the leftmost one of these, slide it down, get a new one. Then we discard the bottom one of these. Those all slide down. And then we're ready for the next round. Then we get a new early bird and they get the worm. So then we're ready for a new round. Everybody starts by rolling their personal dice. So you keep having rounds exactly like that, going around, buying improvements and comforts, and slowly building up your points until you've gone through all of these rounds. And concluding the final round of fall, it's wintertime. And that ends the game, and now it's time for all of the creatures to go within their comforts that they've built up during the other months. So then you count up all your points from your built comforts on these hearts there, your built improvements and the other improvements you may make. And extra resources are worth points, stories are worth 2 points, coins are worth 1, and for every 3 other resources, they're worth 1. And these houses are worth points. So the first improvement you make gives you 1 additional point, the second one gives you 2 additional points, next one's 4, and then the last one's 1. So everybody counts up all their points, and the player with the most points wins. That's how to play Creature Comforts. Okay, now my dad here for Parents' Opinion. So Dad, what do you think of Creature Comforts?
I really liked Creature Comforts. It is worker placement, which if you watched our videos before is not generally my favorite mechanic. But a lot of, and let me just tell you why, because it causes a lot of tension when sometimes you kind of go around as a snake kind of draft, placing your workers, and there's a limited number of slots. So the cool thing about Creature Comforts is it does away with that. So any number of people can go to whatever spot that they like. So I thought that was a really cool thing that they did.
Yeah, that really is a nice thing that they put in to make it a little bit more family friendly. So we'll jump right in. We're not going to talk about components because it's prototype, but they will be awesome because they did a really good job in all of their other games.
Kids Staple Board Gaming does an excellent, phenomenal job with their components. So we're really excited to see what they can do with this one through Kickstarter and stretch goals and all that fun stuff. So
more on that on their Kickstarter. So the artwork is a great job. It's by Shauna J.C. Tenney. I'm not quite sure if she's done a couple of their games or other games in general, but she did a great job. There's individual artwork on all the cards, and the box looks amazing, and then there's just art everywhere, and it all looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about, creature comforts. Those are the things that make us comfortable, and this kind of has a fall winter vibe to it, and the artwork just plays right into that. It's very thematic.
Yeah.
You have your cute little creatures, and they're knitting and making things, preparing for the winter. So they really did a good job encompassing the feeling and the theme of the game.
Yeah, it's a nice, good, warm, cozy feel, and just a great job on that. That's about all I can say. So strategy. This is a strategic game. There are a limited number of turns, and you must use them wisely.
So, which leads me to the second reason why I don't like worker placements. I always feel like I mess up at the very beginning, and I'm like 2 steps behind everybody else. But as you mentioned, this is, it's kind of a little bit of an engine builder. You gotta, well, maybe not engine builder. There is one improvement that kind of helps you continue to gain stuff, but it's really just kind of more of a set collection. You're collecting the resources, but a lot of times there's different ways, paths. Yeah,
there are definitely different ways you can go
to get the resources that you need. You have your own comforts, that might be different than mine, and which would make me go to one place and you go to another place.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I didn't think, just looking at the game, it looked like, there's only one real way to get points. But as we played it, I noticed that there were some other ways. So like the first time I played it, I went through and just bought a whole bunch of comforts and scored points off all those. And then the second time I played, I just tried to use one comfort and then do it over and over. And I didn't win, but I was close.
So yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can go about playing this, and strategies over time, and we haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to see what they can do, with this one in the production copy, of what they can add to it. And the improvements helped out. We didn't really dive too much into the improvements.
Yeah, we didn't buy a whole lot of those.
I had one of them that was really cool, because I noticed early on, if you built 3 of them, that was like 4, 5, 6, 7 points on top of the points that you got. So I made sure to do that. But one of them, always gave me a lesson learned.
Oh yeah, that one was
which
cool.
was kind of cool, because if you needed to manipulate a die, I always had one of those in my back pocket. Yeah.
And those lesson learns are really important, using those to move your dice up and down. Because without that, then you're kind of stuck with what you want.
Another time I had a nice trusty wheelbarrow.
To move your guy?
Well, when they went to the forest or the meadow, I got to bring back something. I got to bring back an extra fruit.
That was the bicycle that moved your guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a bunch of different improvements and cards that there are a lot of strategy, but it's also a nice, easy game. Like, there's decisions, but they're not that hard. You go there and you buy stuff. Easy for kids? Yeah. I mean, it is a little long, but they have rules in there to make it short. You just remove some of the round cards.
You wouldn't play the full 8 rounds. There's like 3 rounds of spring and 3 rounds of summer. I don't know what the ultimate variant is going to be, but you would just remove a few of those and shorten it up to make a quicker game.
Yeah. But yeah, it's easy. There's not a whole lot of reading. It's just symbols, and there is some reading on the comfort cards if there's bonus points or something, and reading on the improvements. But other than that, it's just symbols. Yeah,
it's real simple, real streamlined. I really liked the simple rules. Put your guys out, gather your stuff. Did you want to talk about the dice?
What specifically?
There's dice.
There's dice, and you get this. They're colored.
No, you have. I thought this was one of the really cool parts of the game. At the beginning of the round, you roll your personal dice, and those are only unique to you. And you don't know what the public dice are yet, and so there still is a little bit of guessing, or educated guessing of what you could do with limited knowledge. You only know exactly what 2 of the dice are going to be, and if I'm rolling, you're going to get a lot of crappy rolls, and if you're rolling, then you're going to roll good stuff. So you got to remember. No, I only roll 6s, so I guess it depends on what game you're playing. If you want to invite me, but.
Anyway, it's really cool because you roll it and gives you some insight into the round to help you plan out what you're going to do. Anyway, overall, Creature Comforts is a great game. It's got great artwork and great components are on the way. And there's a lot of strategy, but it's still very simple with simple rules. Do you have anything else?
No, I mean you said it all. It's very streamlined, very easy. It's great for families because of the simple gameplay. I mean, it's adorable. Just looking at it, I'm excited to see what Kids Table can do with this on their Kickstarter in terms of upgraded little meeples and those kind of things. Those are always fun to see. So, worker placement. If you like dice, set collection, it's got a little bit of everything. So definitely check this one out.
Yep. So that's Creature Comforts by Kids Table Board Gaming. Thank you for watching Brian's Got Game. Please like us on our Facebook page, send us a tweet at Brian's Got Game, visit our webpage briansgotgame.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Brian, this is my dad, and I'll see you next time.